Hi, I'm Glenn Everett, master of machines. This episode is one we captured some time ago, where along with a group of Aussie friends we travelled to Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina, USA, for the Mustang 50th anniversary. Well, here we are, we finally made it to Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Mustang 50th anniversary. There's thousands and thousands of Mustangs here, so let's get into it and take a look around. Your support helps us keep this show on the road. Be sure to subscribe to see all new content coming your way for 2021. We're with Matt Anderson, and he's the Curator of Transportation for the Henry Ford Museum. Matt, it's fantastic to see you here, and I believe we're standing next to a very important Mustang right here. Can you tell us all about it?
This is where it all began. This is Mustang serial number 1, and it was sold to an airline pilot by accident in Canada, there in Newfoundland. Ford worked for 2 years to get it back from him. Shouldn't have been sold in the first place. They finally traded him the millionth Mustang to get this one back, and then Ford donated to the Henry Ford Museum, where it's been ever since.
So why wasn't it supposed to be sold? Was it sold early, before the release date?
Yeah, two problems. It was sold on April 14th when the car shouldn't have been sold till April 17th, and it is a pre-production car, so it was just designed for show, so that every dealer would have one to show people what it looked like. It should not have been gone to the public.
And I believe this sky blue version here has a very similar story.
Yes, this one's special too. This is the first car sold in the U.S. It was bought by a woman named Gail Wise. She's a school teacher in Illinois. She walked into the dealership 2 days early on April 15th, and she just fell in love with this car and walked out with it. She still owns the car today, so she is the senior most original owner.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, with the release of the Ford Mustang, it was such a spectacular event, wasn't it? It was a huge deal.
It was incredible. I mean, Ford had broadcast time on all 3 of the major networks here. They had newspaper ads in 2,500 newspapers, magazine covers, and just massive loads of publicity. And the car delivered. They sold 20,000 of these in the first weekend.
I've heard stories about new owners sleeping in the car overnight at dealerships so no one else could take it.
Absolutely. I mean, there are stories of people blocking doors so others couldn't get into the dealership, sleeping until their checks cleared. There's even a story of a guy who was driving a truck, looked at a Mustang in the window, got distracted, crashed his truck into the dealership. So, Mustang mania.
Matt, what an amazing story, and thank you so much for your time on this special day.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
What I've found here, David Gardner and his magnificent X-Drag Racer. Looks like a lot of history here, my friend.
Yes, sir. It's one of 50 made 428 Cobra Jet. They call them a 135 series, and they went to the Winter Nationals in 1968. 2 Cobra Jets in the finals, even Hubert Platt and Al Joniak. And this car here came from Russ Davis Ford, where Gas Ronda raced out of. It's an unrestored original paint, 321 actual mile car, and it had a blown motor and sat in the backyard for 42 years in California. But this is how we found it. We washed about 40 years of dirt off of it and built a new motor for it. The new motor made 686 horsepower. It sounds real good, so it probably got your attention when you heard it running.
I heard this thing, and she sounded like one angry machine, as you've noticed, so I jumped on it.
Very good, yep.
It's everyone's dream to find such a car. You must have been absolutely elated to find this thing.
Oh,
How did you find it?
I was chasing these things, just buying parts, thinking I was going to find a rotten shell one day and put something together, and then a friend of mine has one of these cars, and he got an odd phone call one morning and said that a gentleman inherited the car from his cousin, and it sat in a backyard in California. Russ Davis got 6 of the factory lightweight cars, but of the 6, 2 were seam sealer delete cars that didn't have no sound deadener or seam sealer, and this is one of the cars. So it's got some real special suspension under it, big ladder bars that go way up to the trans, and it really works. We took it to the racetrack, and it run a 621 in the 8 in an old school trim. It
still got the goods.
Oh yeah, it still has the pedigree, you'd say.
part of the festivities here at the 50th. Drivers get to put their Mustangs through their paces around Charlotte Motor Speedway. If you ask me, they look like they're having way too much fun. Talk about history. This Mustang convertible behind me here is the 1964 Indy 500 pace car. Back in the day, they needed a pace car that could support 140 mile per hour to set the pace on the oval. Of course, a factory 260 wasn't going to be up to the job. So Holman and Moody actually modified the car, upgrading it to a 450 horsepower 289 with an upgraded cooling system, a 9-inch rear and suspension modifications. This car here has actually been restored to factory concourse condition just as it was used on race day. Well, there's no shortage of Aussies here at the Mustang 50th. We're with Ed Callender. Now, Ed's made the trek up here from Florida. Ed, it's been a fantastic trip and you must be really happy to have this beautiful 69 Stang here.
We are, Glenn, yeah. We commissioned Matt from Shermat International to hunt around for it. He's done a great job. We're very happy with what we've managed to get. It's got a 429 big block, C6 auto, 9-inch diff. It's got all the goods. It's been fully restored. We're extremely wrapped with it. It's a great car, great car.
And it must be great to drive this car in its native home of the USA before you take it back to Australia.
Yeah, it's been something we wanted to do for a long time, actually. This is our 5th trip over here, and we love the place. It's just such a great place, and actually buy a car here and drive it on the roads. We've got that connection with it now, so we're really this is a keeper. We're gonna hang on to this one. So very happy indeed.
Well, I must say it's a spectacular car. I mean, I've had the pleasure of rolling into the 50th here with you for the trip down here from our accommodation point, and I've got to say I think I've got the hots for a 69 now.
Well, we could sell it to you, Glenn, but
I don't think that's going to happen.
I can't see it happening either, but no, we're extremely happy with it. Yeah, it's great, and it's to be here at the 50th. It's awesome, absolutely awesome stuff.
Well, I have found one of the most spectacular 67 fastback Mustangs that I have ever seen. It's owned by Brian Bataka here. Brian, tell us all about this car.
This is one of the stunt cars from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I bought it a couple of years ago and completely overhauled it, rebuilt it. Originally it had a 400 cubic inch V8 in it, and the interior was all set up as a stunt car. So it had a roll cage and 2-to-1 steering, and it had a handbrake for drift and so forth and so on. It's got a 347 Roush engine in it, aluminum block, aluminum heads. So I have the coilovers front and rear and the 4-link conversion in the back, and a Tremec TKO 600 transmission in it with a 8.8-inch torque sensing rear end. In addition to all that, I restored the interior back to like classic Shelby, something you would see, you know, in period of 67. So
you've got the best of both worlds. Effectively, it's done in a pro touring style theme.
Yes, exactly. It's been a 2-year-long restoration now at this point. So
absolutely amazing, Brian. Thanks so much for talking to us. Awesome car.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, check out the colour on this fastback. This car's owned by Dana Bowers. Dana, tell us all about this car.
That's a 1966 fastback Resto-mod, as you can see. Wasn't a numbers matching car when we found it, so we decided to build something to drive and have fun with. It's a fuel injected Ford Racing Boss Z63 motor, Tremec 5-speed, TMI interior in it, custom suspension. We've gone through the whole car.
And you've recently upgraded to fuel injection too, I believe.
Yeah, we just finished that last week. I'm from South Florida, and fuel injection was finished last Thursday. We jumped in the car and took it for a cruise over to Miami, about a 300-mile round trip to a show over there, and she ran great.
And tell us about the body and paint and the colour on this car.
The paint is a Matrix 3-stage true candy apple paint. Silver metallic base, tinted clear coat, and then cleared over top of. I build and finish custom furniture for a living, so it's very similar to what I have to do to finish a big piece of furniture. It's not your typical paint job.
So you painted the car?
Yes, me and a friend painted it.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
And how does it perform?
I got it out on the track today, expected to do maybe 45 or 50 miles an hour behind the pace car, and we got it up to about 105. So we had a good
Great.
time. Yeah, it was a great day.
Next episode, we feature part 2 of this awesome Mustang 50th anniversary event. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as we truly appreciate your support.